Welcome to Triangle BNI. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. Been telling you for a long time, folks, the digital media world is loud and crowded. You need professionals out there to help you. Folks at Oak City Tech can do that for you a number of ways. First way is a website. People are going to check you out when they meet you. First place they're going to go see if you're real and live. You need professionals helping you do that. So please go to oakcitytech.com. Tell them that we said hi. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Manning. Each week, we bring you a small business success story on Triangle BNI. If you are not familiar with BNI, it is Business Networking International, the world's largest networking organization. Our little slice of heaven here in the Triangle is Raleigh, Durham, and Chapel Hill. Each week, about 30 chapters and almost 600 members get together, and our goal is to help each other grow their business. In our small business success story this week is Kim Bennett with WordJack Media. Kim, how are you today?
For having me today.
Glad to have you here. Kim is in the biggest, baddest chapter in the Triangle BNI region. And I laugh, Kim, because I do training and I tell people all the time, there's a reason why you guys have been the biggest and the baddest. And for all the sports fans out there, I tell people, you guys are like the New York Yankees and Manchester United of Triangle BNI because you've always been the biggest. There's a reason you've been the biggest, but it's Bull City business leaders. They meet Thursdays at 11:15. Right now it's on Zoom, but when we get back to meeting in person, it's Cafe Parazad in Durham. Kim, how's Zoom life treating you these days?
Well, in the beginning with the pandemic and everything that, came of 2020, everything was a bit uncertain, but we just kind of rallied and, pulled together as a unit on Zoom. And my year was fantastic for 2020. Um, Zoom does get a little tiring at times, but actually there's a lot of benefits to it as well because we're able to maximize time instead of windshield time. So it's pretty cool.
It took me a couple weeks last March to realize I started looking at my schedules like, man, I'm setting up 6 meetings a day. It took me a little bit to realize I'm not driving anywhere.
Exactly. Exactly. So there's way more time to get way more done. It's
And
awesome.
and then other than a couple of road trips I always have to bring in my grandson Oliver into the show. Other than going to see him in Charlotte, I think one other trip to the beach, I put, 15 miles a week on my car, so it's actually extended the life of that, which I like.
Yeah. Yeah. Mine too, for sure. I used to be a road warrior and now I'm a
So,
desk warrior. So
yeah, and Kim is with WordJack Media. They help you, we talked about in the opening, websites, SEO, digital marketing, social media, anything like that. And Kim, it just your world's getting ridiculous. There's so many people out there, but what is it? Every hour a new technology comes out?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's constantly changing. There's always changes with Google and the various requirements that businesses have to kind of ante up to keep ahead of their competition. But that's just the way of technology. It's ever changing and ever improving. And ultimately, I think the main goal is to get the right information to the person who's doing the searches. So yeah, we have a very close eye on what things are changing in the world of search engines and how to best help our clients be found online.
And we're going to get into your work history, and a lot of it is digital marketing and sales. Are you just day to day? Are you a techie just in general?
I would say that I geek out on it, but I'm not really as technical as like our developers and our actual production teams. They can actually get it done. I'm dangerous as far as that's concerned. But I do understand it and I can explain it and consult on, what the next best things are to level up a business. So I take it from a higher level and not the nitty gritty, moving the, ones and zeros. So
And another thing we're going to get to later on the show is your kids. How many devices, all told, are in your house that are technology related?
oh goodness. Well, I myself have like five. So They probably have 2 or 3 each. So, yeah, there's over 10 devices in our house, I'm sure.
Are you the type that is looking for one of those refrigerators that does everything for you, and with one app on your phone, you can open your garage door, set your AC and everything like that?
Yes. Yes, I am. I don't really wanna be uber dependent on smart technology and those types of things, but when it makes sense to make your life easier, like, security systems and things like that, then it does, present a lot of benefits.
What part of your industry do you enjoy reading most about?
I think the changes in SEO, as far as, Google's always coming out with new changes to the algorithm, and just staying abreast of those things, but also, social media on the other hand, because there's a new platform every time you turn around. So just staying in constant contact with all the new information that's happening is really important to me. I will say that I'm not the most active personally on social media anymore, just because it is so much of my world during work. But I really enjoy learning about new ways to target audiences and help businesses bring in the right clients for their right locations.
Now, for some of the folks watching and listening who are not up to speed on this great industry lingo, SEO is search engine optimization. So
Mhm.
when I go on Google and type in landscaper,
Yeah.
it's set up where instantly, of course, I get 1,000 of them. But how do you set that up for your clients? If I have no idea who to call, what's the best thing you can do for your clients to get them found the quickest?
Yeah, well, SEO or search engine optimization is a long process. So there are other tools that we can use to make sure that clients are being found quickly. But as far as search engine optimization, if you want to be found for landscaping design and landscaping contractor, those are all different keyword terms. And, the keywords are where it's at because if somebody's going to type keywords into a search engine, you want to have those keywords in your website, or otherwise, Google has no idea that you want to be found for those things. So there was, long ago, there was like keyword stuffing and things like that, but the practices have changed to where it's actually valuable content that's written on a website and checking off about 200 other factors that affect SEO or, how you're ranking. And you want to be found on the first page of Google, um, because most people go to the first page and they don't go anywhere else. They don't keep looking through, tons of different pages of results because the way Google has advanced the, you know, results that it provides, it allows people to really quickly get the answers that they're looking for in the right locations of where they're located or what they've searched for.
And for the small business owner folks watching, and I've learned this took a couple of years ago. I learned this as I started to meet more people in BNI that do what you do. We need to put the words in the way that people type them in for a search, correct?
Well, typing or voice commands
Yeah.
like with Alexa, Siri, that sort of thing, whatever the words are that people are searching for, and you can find that out really quickly working with us for a keyword analysis to look at, yes, you may know your industry jargon. However, that may not be what the average person is typing in, especially now in our area, because there is an influx of new residents coming from all over the country. There's different ways to say things. Like some people may say lawyer, some people may say attorney.
Mhm.
So you need to have both of those words if you want to attract the majority of the audience searching for what you do.
Yeah, one of the things that jumped out for me with my wife, this was probably about 3 years ago. We have a dining room table. It used to be brown. Let me say that. And my wife wanted to stain it and then repaint it, but she wanted to make sure she used the right stain. So, again, what I learned with Google, and most people don't, I don't think we realize. Obviously, Google's the biggest search engine in the world. YouTube is the second biggest one. So she
Mhm.
typed in, "How do I stain a dining room?" Forget what would she use or whatever the question, but she literally typed in a question. Man, stuff came up. and it
Yeah.
took her to YouTube. She watched something and it worked perfectly.
Yeah. And Google owns YouTube. So it makes sense that it would give you the quality video results that you're looking for.
So we need to, a lot of times people just need to know, just type in the question you're looking for the answer.
Absolutely. And, that goes back to having the creation of blogs in your content on your website, because you can actually ask that question and answer it in blog content, which, makes you very relevant.
With all the services that WordJack provides, what's your most favorite thing to work on with a client?
Just the overall strategy, because what I do initially is a pre-analysis to see where you are starting from. Sometimes you need a full website built. Sometimes you have a great WordPress website, and then you just need all of the marketing levers to be moved. So, my favorite part is helping clients figure out what is that next step, what will make the most bang for their buck in their marketing dollars so that they can see true results. So, whether that's a better presence on social, better content, or, paid advertising, which, that would be like Google Ads. So if you haven't built up your content to where you're ranking online, having Google Ads allows you to have that presence while you're building up that content, as well as Facebook or social media, sponsored ads and paid advertising there.
Do you get a couple people like us that think we know what we're telling you, trying to tell you how to do your job, and we kind of really don't, but it's cute that we think we do?
Oh, is that a trap question? No.
No, you can say whatever you want because we have all been that client. Well, I know, Kim, I know you're telling me this, but in my favorite story in BNI, and I love BNI. I do this show every week. My brother and this is my third business. I've started BNI. I love it. My favorite thing to hear in BNI is, well, my uncle Billy does either IT or tax is what I hear the most. My uncle Billy does our IT stuff. Oh, so does he have his own company? Well, no, he's a landscaper, but boy, he loves computers. He's been playing with them since he was 4. And it's like, no, that doesn't really count.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear that a lot. And, it's what strikes me and what really kind of makes me feel good about what we do is the loyalty that you see when people have worked with somebody that's done a good job for them. And I think that speaks to what you're referring to. So if they feel like, okay, Uncle Larry's done a great job so far, it's hard to let go of Uncle Larry when it's past his expertise. And that's one of the beautiful things about WordJack is that we do have subject matter experts that work in-house with us, and we're able to really hone in on those specific things that are necessary. So, once you've kind of moved out of that, I guess, area of expertise for Uncle Larry, then you can level up the business to work with more subject matter experts, but only have one person that you have to talk to because the rest of our team will, be instructed and managed so that things happen as they should.
In the last 4 or 5 months, what's the main reason or 2 that new clients have come to you?
I've I've been signing up a lot of new businesses, like part of a franchise, but also businesses that have just kind of, I think, been kind of thought of and created out of 2020, where they've made some changes in their life, and a lot of things have changed as far as financials and stuff like that. So I've been seeing a lot of new businesses, but I've also seen a lot of businesses that may have owned you know their space prior, but now some challengers have entered their space and they need to continue to stay in that top spot.
You are part of an international company with
Mhm.
WordJack Media.
Yeah.
Benefits to that are a bunch, I would imagine, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, the main benefit is that WordJack doesn't hire for location; we hire for talent. So you're going to have the best of the best working for your business as an extension of your business, kind of your marketing department. So you don't have to worry about, focusing on one particular area. So we also have the best practices internationally and know a lot more than what maybe one geographic area might have available to them. As well as our, production team can work overnight. So if your website or something needs to be backed up or updated, it's not going to affect your business hours.
And that's really where the money is on the IT side, is after hours and making sure nobody's hacking or getting into your stuff that unfortunately Uncle Billy can't provide for you. You need
Right.
professionals like yours.
Exactly.
So I would imagine, I mean, just the pipeline hack last week, that's
Hmm.
pretty much should be on the top of most people's list if they have sensitive
Absolutely.
information.
Yeah, yeah. And everyone's information really is sensitive to some level because, if you see a website that doesn't have a security certificate, that's a red flag, or it should be, because that tells you that you could be exposed to something, but also the business could be exposed to something, the customers. It's really important to have security locked down tightly. And, we manage all of that security for our clients as well.
We are here with Kim Bennett with WordJack Media. Kim's in RD27, Bull City Business Leaders, the biggest, baddest chapter in Triangle BNI, but for a reason. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. One of the things, folks, you need is an email, because Facebook can take your site away. Google can do this. Everybody else can do that because it's their stuff. But your email list is your email list, so you can keep your campaign going. So go find professionals like Oak City Tech. Go to oakcitytech.com. They'll be able to help you with that. All right, Kim, you have a interesting newspaper background, but mainly it's on the sales and digital marketing side with the News and Observer here in Raleigh, the Asheville Times. Did those just kind of come about, just one of those, like a lot of us have gotten calls in the past out of the blue, or you just kind of like that atmosphere?
Um, it stemmed from, honestly, from my childhood. My parents, were really heavy readers of the newspaper, and they were entrepreneurs and always looking for another way to expand what they did. So they had a newspaper route when I was really little. And so I was like always reading the newspaper and always looking at, what's happening. And after, during college, I started selling subscriptions to the newspaper, and that went really well. And the advertising department was interested in having me work for them. And long story short, I wound up starting my advertising career with Pisgah Mountain News, which was a community paper from the Asheville Citizen Times, and then moved on to the News and Observer during the 2008 changes of the economy, brought me to Raleigh. So, um, yeah, I really loved working with the News and Observer and the people and the camaraderie, as well as just, seeing that evolution of print into digital, because I did move into cars.com, which was an affiliate of News and Observer. So I had both, the best of both worlds, being able to offer print as well as digital products.
And talk about an industry that has changed at least 180 degrees.
Yeah.
Because I remember back in the day growing up, that's what we read was a newspaper. There was no internet. And so it felt like they were 40 pages every day. And now it's like 8 or 10 or 12. I'm probably not quite that low, but they've had to go online, haven't they, just to compete?
Yeah, absolutely. It has changed a lot.
Now, when you were in college at UNC Charlotte, which is now University of Charlotte, um, I love this. You got a BA in history.
Yes.
All right. So how does a young college student with a BA in history get to WordJack Media today?
Well, if you think about it, history is all about research. And I spent a lot of my time researching different things that I was interested in. When I was in college, I was very interested in environmental studies and, Latin America, all sorts of different pieces of history, as well as religious studies. So there was a lot of research that I did. And if you think about it, there's a really close connection there, because what I do now is research. How is a business being found? What has worked for them in the past? What's going to work for them in the future? And putting it all together. So I guess that's how that transition.
But those are the life stories I love because my degree in college was in communications, and at one point in time, my brother and I owned a pest control company.
Right, exactly.
So,
Exactly.
wait, how did we get here? But that's what happens, you see because we don't know what's out there when we're 16, 17, and 18, and somebody calls you one day and says, "Hey, Kim, why don't you, check this out?" And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, you read up on it like, "Oh, that sounds pretty good."
Yeah, exactly. You follow the opportunities that match your style. And, I still am always watching history documentaries and studying things. And my goal is to sometime get out and actually be on an archaeological dig or
Ooh.
maybe get back into anthropology. So we'll
Was
see.
that the goal when you enrolled in college in history was to kinda head down that path?
No, actually, when you take like the Myers Briggs or the personality kind of assessment to see what you're best suited for, surprisingly, mine was advertising because I am interested in so many different businesses and I'm fascinated by how each one works. And it actually allows me to tap into all these different businesses without having to be only focused on one. So it keeps my curiosity um, satisfied.
I took the Strengths Finders test because Trinity made me. She loves those tests. She actually made her husband, Scott, take that test after their second date because she knew she was hooked on him, but wanted to really see what she was getting into. And I said, "Here, it's gonna tell everybody that I like to talk and I like to meet people," and sure enough, that's what it said, so
Yeah.
did you take any, trips anywhere with regard to your major of history in college?
I wish I had, but I did start having children early. So I've been mom for 24 years now. So I have a lot of travel coming up on my bucket list.
Yes, and kids do change everything. There's no and I don't wanna use the word good, there's no perfect time to have them
Yeah.
because there's always, "Well, let us both work one more year," or not enough money, or cities, whatever the reason, and then you just, you have them and you figure it out, and at the end of the day, it was the right move to have 'em when you had them usually, so
Oh,
but
of course.
now you started out at New River Community College in Dublin, Virginia. So what got
Yeah.
you there first?
Well, I was living in Southwestern Virginia in high school, and I decided to go ahead and get my associate's degree. And that was a good place to do it because it was just a short drive from my hometown where I was staying in Hillsville, Virginia.
How far from hometown was New River?
Oh, it's about 30 minutes.
Did you live at home?
I lived at home when I first started, and then my husband and I got married at that point, and that's when our family started too. So
Okay. Right, did you enjoy the community college, experience?
I did. I'm always wanting to do things a little differently. So I took a few extra classes and got done with that quicker than what was normal so that I could move on to better and brighter things.
Were you always taking writing classes or some type of advertising, public speaking, design, anything like that?
I actually was taking like graphic design. I took a few art classes. Really enjoyed writing. Have a few short stories I've never published, but it is kind of a outlet of mine as well as sometimes painting, which you can see some of
Okay.
my stuff back there.
Oh, so there is a book someday, right?
Probably, I would say,
What
when I
w
have time.
Yeah, right. What will the short stories or what are they about?
There's a variety of them. Some of them are just fantasy type things, and I guess the ones that I'm really more interested in writing are books about my experiences, because as far as professional experience, because I think there's a lot of value in what I've been able to achieve with my career, and being able to share that I think is important.
Can we assume there's a creative gene in your gene pool from a generation or 2?
I'd say a little bit, yeah.
Who had
Yeah,
that?
my mom actually, she was always making new things. She's very crafty. There was never a time that she wasn't working on something that was a creative outlet. And my dad was a contractor and he did a lot of building and worked on original designs himself.
Is that your escape?
Sometimes, sometimes it is. Other times it's just coffee and quiet. So,
You close your door and say, "Don't come in here, I'll come out when I'm done," right?
right.
4 kids, correct?
Hmm.
Boys or girls? How old?
Three girls and one boy, and they probably shouldn't be called kids anymore because they're almost all grown. My oldest is 24. She's a recruitment coordinator. My next daughter is 21 and she has multiple jobs. My son is actually starting his own photography and video business. So it's really exciting. And then my youngest daughter is a sophomore and works at a restaurant.
Oh, nice, okay. Did you hook your son up with Kevin and Christy and everybody in your chapter yet?
Yeah, so
Good,
I am working on that.
good.
They're interested in mentoring. Christy actually has a video class series where there's a lot of pro tips that my son's been able to tap into as far as how to really take his business step by step, and level up. Kevin's been great for mentoring initially, and a few other people.
When your son was born, did your daughters think, "Oh, we've got a new doll to dress up"?
Not so much, not so much. I think they were more surprised that after my son was born, there was another baby after that was not a boy. So I think they were prepared for two girls, two boys. But no, he did get a lot of attention that he may not have wanted from the sisters as far as just older sibling
Now,
type
were
of
were
things.
they the type to wanna check out his, dates when he started dating?
Um, to a degree. Um, his younger sister, I think, was more interested or is more interested than my older daughters, just because you know they've been around a little bit more, and she's just a little bit more critical.
My wife and I have 2 boys, and I always tell people when you have your first child, it's all my analogies are sports related. So when you bring the first one home, it's a zone defense. You're playing 2 on 1. We think we have it covered, but we really don't because 'cause they're young and they'll cry and get up when they want to. Then when the second one comes along, goes to man-to-man defense. You got that one, I'll take this one. I'll see you in 4 hours or, whatever the call is. When the third one comes, that changes it. I have no idea what life is like with 4 kids in the house.
It's actually not so bad. There's a lot of entertaining each other, so it's not rough as it sounds. Um, but I think you have to have more than two to really know what it is to juggle. So
Some of friends I grew up with, a couple of families had 6 kids, and I would as a parent, I would love that. Just to have I love being a dad, so
yeah.
that'd be a lot of fun, but it's easy to say, "Oh, that'd be so much fun because I didn't have to go through the logistics of it." Were, family vacations fun, loading everybody up and getting all the right stuff packed?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a lot of forgotten things. One time I actually forgot my daughter. We were only a mile from home, so it was okay. She was a little panicked, but it's okay.
And who did it dawn on first in the car?
I think it was me because I'm like, something's wrong, something's missing. But it was on the way back, and again, it was only
Okay,
a mile from home. So,
alright, good. That's funny. Grandparents, so how many grandkids do, your parents have?
oh my goodness, a- over a dozen, and then great grandchildren. I don't know, yeah, because I have four siblings, so each of us has at least one. But my youngest brother and I both have four,
Oh my god.
so there's eight for you.
Okay, I'm starting to understand the math equation here. You were one of 4, You
One
had
of 5.
1 of 5, so you thought, what's 4? A piece of cake, right?
That's right. I was just trying really hard not to have that 5th one when I was my mom's age when she had me, so.
Oh, okay. What are those family reunions like?
Well, I don't know, it's been a while since we had one, but, yeah, it's not, not as easy as it, would have been. I live a little further away from everybody else. So my parents or my mom, my dad passed away in 2010, but my mom, she lives in Hendersonville, North Carolina, and my brothers live closer to her, and then my sister lives close to Charlotte. So it does take a little bit of navigating for us to get together.
All right. That's, weddings pre-COVID probably were a blast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
yeah. We are here with Kim Bennett, WordJack Media. Kim is part of RD27, Bull City Business Leaders. They meet Thursday mornings at 11:15. Right now it's on Zoom, but if you want to meet some folks and know what they're doing in small business, but more importantly, they know more about helping others than they do about asking for things themselves, please go to trianglebni.com. You'll find a header up in the right-hand corner says find a chapter. Click on RD27. There's a link to register for Zoom. You'll meet some good people. Today's show is brought to you by Oak City Tech. Oak City Tech can help you with SEO so you can get found because there's a lot of products, a lot of services, a lot of people out there, and it's growing by the minute. I'm sure since Kim and I started talking, there's been 22 new apps that have started and are out in the marketplace. So you need some help with professionals. So go to oakcitytech.com. Tell Drago that we said hi. All right, Kim. When I first saw your name, it was from training, I think 2 years ago, and it was Kimberly. All
Yes.
right. So when do you go by what, and how do you know when you're in trouble with your mother?
Yeah. Well, trouble with mom is Kimberly. Um, but it's hyphenated, and that is a bit of a curse on forms and documents, and just getting people to get it right and not add extra syllables. Um, but yeah, I go by Kim most of the time just to kind of clear out the confusion for
And
anybody.
and why the hyphenated name for Kimberly?
I have no idea. I think there was something kind of French going on in my mom's world at that time. Um, but I'm not really sure. She just wanted it to be different.
Then she won, didn't she?
She did.
Now, do your siblings have hyphenated names?
No, no, they have really simple names. So
Well, where are you in the pecking order?
I am the last.
Ah, okay. So she ran out of normal names, right? Thought,
I
hey, let me
guess.
try this, right?
Yeah, I
Wha-
guess so.
Now, were you planned to be the last child, do you think, or could they have had a
Oh,
few more?
I'm sure there was no plan to have me. So no, yeah, that's pretty sure there was no plan. My youngest brother is 12 years older than me, so I think
Oh
that was
my.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
so you're a surprise baby.
yeah. I'm a oops.
Yeah. Well, how old's your oldest sibling?
She's 20 years older than me.
So was she gone when you came home?
Yep, she was
Wow.
moved out. There was my my oldest niece is 3 years younger than me.
Are you Aunt Kim to her or just Kim?
Just Kim.
No, see, that stuff is funny. I like that because my folks had it's my sister, then me, then my brother, and we were what is it, June of 59 to January of 63. So my mom and dad, they had three real quick. I can't imagine what it's like to have a sibling 20 years older. What were commonalities when you were growing up with her?
Mostly just whatever bar she set, I tried to exceed it. So any choices she made, I tried to make better ones because she's my only sister.
Okay.
Um, so and getting called her name all the time kind of you know made me challenge it a little bit more. I think too.
Wow, 20 years. That would
Yeah.
be yeah, I bet yeah, when your folks told her that, "Hey, we got another one coming," she well, I'm out of here. Did
Yeah, yeah. But my
did
youngest brother was a senior in high school when I was in kindergarten.
wow.
Yeah.
So when he left home Boy, you had the house to yourself for a while, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I was an only child pretty much growing up,
Wow.
except for that little overlap with him being at home.
Was that good or bad?
Being an only child,
Yeah.
that's why I have 4 kids. So,
Fair enough. I like that. One one of the things I love about BNI, other than it teaches everyone to shop local, even though you are part of an international company, they're buying Kim. I have Kim's number. I'm going to call Kim. I'm not going to call the 877 number, which they
right.
could, but they
Mhm.
want to call Kim. And so that's why I learned real quick about BNI because I have my chiropractor's cell phone number. I have my banker's cell phone number. I have my insurance person's cell phone number. And I love that about
Yeah.
BNI. The other thing I try to, and BNI is not for everybody, and I tell people that up front. There's no harm in that. But one of the reasons I love BNI is the members, how much they're tied into the community. And I say this honestly because I'm always impressed with the work people do. You are part of 2 organizations, Healing Place and Adopt a Trail.
Well, I haven't been very active recently, but yeah, so I've had some experience helping people that have suffered with homelessness. And then I'm very passionate about, the environment. So we have a trail near our home that we adopted to take care of and make sure that, it was cleaned up. It's by a creek. So that was really important to me. And, I'm just more into giving when it makes sense, when
Yeah.
someone really is in need of something. My daughter and I have been working on a project of our own that would help people that are dealing with stress, anxiety, and other mental challenges, because that's been really important, I think, over the last year, for people to be able to have some coping skills. And also, I'm very interested in helping prevent suicide, because we did have a loved one who took his own life recently. So, looking for ways to work with people who are looking to prevent those types of things, but also help improve people's quality of life and enable them to better cope with things that are challenging them, whether it's stress or something more aggressive that they're dealing with.
And through COVID, have you found that there are more people out there willing to help and offer their time and services for organizations like this?
Yeah, I really believe there are. I'm actually looking for products that are aligned with the values that our organization that we're developing is trying to promote, focusing on a lot of sensory items that can be sent out to people so that they'll have, some coping mechanisms at hand, but also just an integrated solution to help people stay engaged with each other and connect in better ways, rather than feeling hopeless.
Yep. Are there some type of products you want to share with us that people may be able to get to you if they have some?
Um, Anything that is, very focused on making sure that, you're healthy, balanced. So it could be a food that's, beneficial, healthy. Could be something that has, a good scent to it, a textile or tactile type of product that um, is a good tool for people to use. For example, my youngest daughter suffers with ADD, and she has, a fidget cube that she uses a lot. So things like that. And the whole organization, once we have all of the pieces in place, will be focused on, getting these things to people in a subscription box model, but also with a focus on sharing that with the local community, and whether that's homeless shelters or um, women's centers, things like that.
Is there somewhere they could send these to you?
Um, Best thing to do is just call me so we can talk about how we can work together, because it would be a great opportunity for, marketing their products as well.
Wonderful. We've been putting Kim's number up on the screen here throughout the show, 919-793-6339. Adopt a trail. How often do you get out to clean that and monitor that?
We go out and do some hiking and things like that, at least once a month. But as far as working on the trail, I would say every quarter.
On your when I do my professional stalking of guests on LinkedIn and Facebook. So on your Facebook page, you've got a couple things that are connected because they're your interest of yours. You had kayaking, acrylic painting, and archery.
Yes,
All
yes,
right, now tie
absolutely.
those 3 together for me, Kim.
I love to be out on the water, and kayaking was something that I discovered a few years ago, and it is just a fantastic way to spend an afternoon. Love being, that close to nature, and self-powering myself across a body of water is always fun. I did archery in college, and I haven't had as much opportunity to do that recently. Um, but I would love an opportunity if anybody would like to get together to do that. Feel free to reach out. And acrylic painting, yeah, I do acrylic painting as kind of a creative outlet.
What is the painting behind you over your right shoulder?
Actually, there's two. There's one that's a mountain scene, and then there's another one that's a peacock. I would show you, but I can't
That's
really.
okay. Do you see something and that stirs the thought to paint something along those lines, or how do these come about?
Yeah, so it really varies and depends. My best actual art, I guess you would say, or painting that I've done was inspired from a child that I lost. And he was going to be named Phoenix, and I painted a phoenix, and that was one of the most popular that anyone's ever asked for. And I've actually sold a few copies of it.
Oh, wow.
Um, and then I was trying some finger painting, like actual painting with my fingers. And this is a peacock behind me on a huge canvas that I wish I could show you. And the mountain scene that I have yet to finish is actually inspired by my brother-in-law who took his life because he was doing some painting at the end, and I was wanting to do something as kind of a tribute to him.
And you can start a painting, I understand, and then stop it for a while and pick it back up, and do you know when it's finished?
Yep, I do. No one else would. But yeah, no, it's like when it all comes together, and there's nothing else to add, nothing else to change, and it just speaks to you. I think that's when it's finished.
Did the kids get this gene from you?
Actually, yeah. So, um, my oldest daughter loves sculpture. My middle daughter is very, very good at drawing with charcoals and sketching, and also digital media. Um, my youngest daughter is awesome with pencils, and she has her own style that's really fantastic. She does a lot of lines and um, takes her own twist on things. She does some clothing design as well. And my son also is photography and video. So I think so.
Well, I don't wanna speak for anybody or get ahead of schedule, but when the grandkids do start to show up, I imagine you're gonna have the coolest painted, drawn-on driveway and sidewalk in the neighborhood, right?
I imagine I would, yes.
And that'll be a lot of fun, of course, everything will look perfect.
Yeah.
Even when they put their hand on the driveway and trace around, is like, "Let's turn that into a turkey, here we go."
That's right.
Anyways, Kim, we've enjoyed having you on the show today. Folks, our, show sponsor is Oak City Tech. Kim, it plays in that pond with them. You want a professional because it's not like it used to be, 10, 12 years ago. I'll just make my own website and do this or that. So you want to go find professionals like Kim. If you want to meet some really good folks in BNI, even if you don't join BNI, just go meet some very good folks. Please go check out their chapter Thursdays at 11:15 a.m. but enjoyed the stories and good to get to know you. We've crossed paths a little bit, not much, but good to get to know more about you, and hope the rest of COVID, whenever it ends and everything like that, keep seeing your business grow.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me.
Right, and we'll see everybody next time on Triangle BNI.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. If you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it in the archives section at nissancommunications.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on Twitter, and like us on Facebook. Sponsored by StreamingGear.com, Carolina Apparel, and DeltaForce.net.